Okay, cool.
Bye.
All right. Good night. Good morning. Good afternoon. Good morning. Good night. Good night, everybody. Good evening.
Let's start over. Let's do this again.
Good night, everybody.
Turn it over.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the worst mistake Cody Newberry ever made. This is Your List Sucks Crime Movie Edition. I am your special guest host, Kirk the Consigliere Kowalkowski, and I am here because crime movies are the best movies, and I want to make sure we had a host who respected the genre, and if we had panelists who did not, I wanted a host who would embarrass them properly. So that's what I'm here for. I've gone full Rupert Pupkin. I have taken over. Cody is duct taped to his chair, and we're going to see what happens here tonight. So before we get into it, let's introduce our panelists. To my, I think I'll get this right, left is here's a gentleman like me who takes a beating often on this show, and I'll be honest with you, I don't think that's going to change tonight. It is the King, Kaleb Koho. Koho, how do you like your chances to get out of here in one piece tonight?
I wasn't even supposed to be here today. I'm here every week. I'm handcuffed to this desk. I legitimately am locked here contractually and physically. I am not allowed to leave this show. If I do, Cody will hire a sniper to take me out. But I'm excited to be here again. I have a feeling I'm getting last, but I'm hoping I get third. I haven't gotten third yet.
Well, we'll see what happens. Below him is a man I wanted to have on the show because it's appropriate. His taste in movies can often be considered a crime. It is Andrew James Barr. Andrew, how you feeling tonight, buddy?
Koho, I'm going to contradict what you said. I'm coming in last. It'll be the first time on Your List Sucks in my 27 appearances here. I'm going to come in last, and I'm going to win Your List Sucks.
All right, and to my right, we have your normal host. This is a guy also appropriate because his treatment of me on the show in the past has been criminal. It is Cody Newberry. Cody, you feeling all right with me taking the reins tonight?
Well, see, I'll talk a little longer than the rest, but like Koho, the last time Koho crossed me, he knows what happened with Moonlight. So he'll realize that if he messes, his favorite movies will not win Oscars. Kirk, so when I asked Kirk a question, says, when can you be on the show next? And his response is, I can host crime movies. And I said, well, I want to host crime movies. I love crime movies. So I gave him the power. We'll see a thing. But the problem is my list can't suck because this is my show and my opinion rules. So even if you hate it, doesn't matter. I still win. But I'm expecting brutal hell from you, and I can't wait. So, yeah.
Cody, have that, our Koho, have that mute button ready to go.
All right.
The shut up rules allowed.
And below him is a man, this is kind of awkward for me. This is the one guy in the room that I really don't feel I've gotten to know personally enough to insult to his face. But don't worry, I'm probably going to do it anyway. It is Big Papa Jeff Varju. Jeff, welcome to Your List Sucks.
Thank you very much for having me. This is my first time here on Your List Sucks. A long-time listener, first-time caller, hoping to win those tickets to see Van Halen this Sunday at the Multiplex. But I think I'm on the wrong show, if I might be mistaken. But yeah, I don't know about this list with me. I'm not looking to be the top. I'm looking to be somewhere sandwiched in between. Like a nice little Oreo cookie cream filling that I am. So put me in the middle, y'all.
All right. Okay, so the way this works, you guys know, but if this is the first time you've watched a show, and I understand if it is, what we do, everybody gives their top 10 lists. We will go through 10 through 8. That's treated more like a honorable mention. Then we'll do everybody's 7 through 4. Then we'll do everybody's 3s, everybody's 2s, everybody's 1s. We will compile a list from everybody else's top 10s, and from there I will give grades. God help you all. So why don't we start this off? Koho, go ahead and tell us why the Pirates of the Caribbean movies are technically crime movies.
Well, there is a lot of swashbuckling and piracy, but my number 10 is a little known movie called The Private Eyes. My number 9 is Logan Lucky, and my number 8 is The Big Lebowski.
Okay, no yikes. I'm not surprised on this. Why don't you go ahead and start with your number 10, Private Eyes?
My number 10 is a little movie from 1980 called The Private Eye, starring Don Knotts and Tim Conway. It's a murder mystery where these two Americans start working for Scotland Yard and are hired to investigate a murder that happened to a millionaire, and shenanigans ensue. The plot's really tight. The jokes are really funny. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. Super good. My number 9 is also a comedy. It's Logan Lucky. It's a Steven Soderbergh movie from 2017. Channing Tatum, Adam Driver, Daniel Craig. It's got a stacked cast, lots of cameos. Sebastian Stan, Seth MacFarlane, a bunch of others are also in it. About these guys who are planning a heist of a NASCAR racetrack, and it is super fun, super funny. And I've gone back to it many times. I think it might be my favorite Soderbergh film, which is a hot take in and of itself. And then my 8 is the Coen Brother classic, The Big Lebowski. I absolutely love this movie. It is a crime. It's about the dude as he's hunting down a missing persons case while going through LA. So I don't know how much I really need to say about The Big Lebowski. I just absolutely love all the characters in Coen Brothers movies. So Big Lebowski's great.
All right, before we go any further, I didn't mention this in Jeff's first time here. So, Jeff, if you hear a movie that's on your list, say yikes, and we'll come back to that later. Okay, Koho, Private Eyes, not a good start. I made sure I could see every movie on this list, but I couldn't find Private Eyes anywhere. So I went and did some research. I watched some YouTube videos, some clips. This is top 10 crime movies, and you essentially put an episode of Scooby-Doo on your list, which is what this movie is.
Ouch.
I'm sure you have fond memories of watching this maybe as a kid, maybe with your grandparents, your parents, whatever, and that's fine. But on a top 10 list of crime movies, I'm not going to crucify you too much because it is 10. That's okay. You can this can be your fun pick. That's fine. But we're going to come back and judge this later. Your list needs to go from 0 to 60 at this point. We got to start taking it seriously now. So let's move on to number 9, Logan Lucky. Yeah, I like this movie. It's fun. I'd like to give it a little more time to breathe to see if it holds up. But I think this is a great movie. I love Daniel Craig in this, and I think 9's a really good spot for it. Number 8, Big Lebowski. I am not as high on this movie as a lot of people are. Kind of came and went for me, and I was really surprised when I saw, over the years how it picked up that cult status. I think that's a little undeserving. But again, at number 8, I'm not going to beat you up too bad about it. I mean, it's a decent Coen Brothers movie. It's got some good performances in it. So that is, I'll let you slide on that one.
Really?
All right. So we will move on to Cody. You wanted to go last, right?
Oh, I don't care. You can put me wherever.
All right. Well, I will move. Yeah. Just so we go in order on screen, I don't lose track. We'll go to Cody next. So, Cody, give me your 10, 9, 8.
Okay. My number 10 is My Cousin Vinny. My number 9 is The Town. And my number 8 is Sicario. Okay. So my number 10 is My Cousin Vinny. I wanted to do something different because I had a conversation with somebody. It's not organized crime. That's not the basis of the list. It's crime in general. And I think this is truly one of the best comedy crime movies of all time. I love a courtroom setting. I think Joe Pesci and the judge play really good off each other. And Marissa Tomei in this movie, she won an Oscar for it, deservedly so. But honestly, one of the greatest performances. It's probably the most quotable. The line will stick with me in the thing is, I don't like it as much as you, but either way, you're getting fucked. Great part. Love this movie. You can all thank me for Full Metal because I'm the reason that's on your guys' list. Number 9 is The Town. Yes, directed by Ben Affleck, shot in Boston, and it ends up with a shootout outside Fenway Park. Don't think he couldn't have made my list at this point. So clearly, I love the intrigue between it. I love the setup between the underbelly of crime and how and Jeremy Renner and Ben Affleck play great off each other. But he tells them everything. He's like, listen, you can't tell me what we're doing or where we're going or blah blah blah. All right, you take whose car we're taking? Yours or mine? Doesn't even question him, just says let's roll. That's the perfect of a crime movie. And number 8 is Sicario. Sicario I bounced around with a lot because it hasn't been out too long. But the tension that I felt on the freeway scene of the tension I felt in that car where the guns are coming at him and they know that something and the shootout begins and Antonio Banderas and the understory Love it love it. I think this movie gets very underrated, especially with the second one. The second one ruins what the first one was. I think the first one is a perfect low budget crime movie, and Emily Blunt's amazing in it. So yeah.
Okay, number 10, My Cousin Vinny. I mean, it is what it is. It's an out of the box pick, and it's better than Mr. Magoo's Haunted House or whatever Go had on his list. But no, I mean, personally, I think there's better crime comedies. But again, number 10. I just did rewatch this for Full Metal, and it had been a while since I saw it, and it's good. I mean, I'm not gonna. Number 10 is a good spot for it. Number 9, The Town. This is another one I watched just for your list, and saw it for the first time. A little bit of a spoiler. This is the best movie on your list based out of Boston. And it is, Renner's great in this. Affleck's great in this. Really nice heist drama. And again, it's not something I would have come up with, but at number 9, that's pretty good.
You piece of shit. That underlining punch.
He just punched you right in him.
And number 8, Sicario. I've seen this. Honestly, don't remember too much about it. I don't remember it being great. I don't remember anything really I hated about it. So for me, it's pretty forgettable. But if you like it, you put it number 8 for your honorable mentions. That's cool. So yeah, that's all right. So not a terrible start. Could have been a lot worse. So we will move on to Jeff. Why don't you give me your 10, 9, 8?
Okay. For number 10, I have Baby Driver.
Yikes.
Oh God, it's gonna be a long night.
Number 9, I have End of Watch. Okay. And number 8, I have, just for the laughs, 7.
All right. Okay, go ahead and give me your rundown on those 3.
Okay, so Baby Driver, I love a
Yikes. That got yikes. So we save it.
Oh
for
yeah,
later.
yeah.
It's
We'll
like
go, good number
it's
9.
like top 10's punt. So
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. So number 9, End of Watch. A lot of people kind of like always, when they think of crime movies, they always think of like the mafia movies. They always think of the drug cartel movies. Everybody kind of forgets about like the actual police procedurals. Everybody kind of like forgets about that. This was a good, like, grounded and almost realistic. That's the word I'm looking for. I don't even know. Authentic, I guess, is the best way to look at it. It gave you a good glimpse. It felt like you saw real police officers working here, and the chemistry between Jake Gyllenhaal and Michael Pena proved to be really, really good. It showed 2 cops essentially doing their job, trying to be good people to serve the community, going a little bit over in their heads with a big problem there. I won't spoil too much, but it's pretty gnarly. But the movie is so well done, well shot. I like the style of it. It's a fun watch. Definitely one to enjoy. And for number 8, yeah, I have 7. Yeah, mostly for the laughs. But no, even still, I love when a movie can, because I know the people with OCD are going to get pissed off right now, the fact that I don't have it at 7. But, lol, I guess. I like when a movie can take a concept like the 7 Deadly Sins and can make it interesting, when you can take something that you like kind of like know of and can give it a fresh take and something that's refreshing. That is really cool to see. And just seeing the chemistry between Brad Pitt, Morgan Freeman, and then you see Kevin Spacey. Oh wait, I'm sorry, Christopher Plummer. I'm sorry for that one with that. You got the joke. But I loved the it works as a thriller. It works as a really tense drama. The crime aspects of this work really well. I think it's an excellent thriller crime drama.
Okay. All right. Your number 9, End of Watch. This is another one I had not seen and I watched because you put it on your list. And I thank you for that because I really enjoyed this movie. Gyllenhaal's great in it. Michael Pena's in it. Great in it. I love their chemistry. I love the way it's shot. I love that like found footage look. I think it really captures the intensity of what they're going through. My only problem with this movie is I don't want to spoil the ending, but it is called End of Watch. So, figure it out. And they just throw so many of those police cliches in that movie where it's like, I felt like I was being like manipulated emotionally. Like, oh, this is going to happen at the end. And that kind of like, I had to take drew me out of it a little bit. But other than that, I really liked it. Like I said, I like Gyllenhaal when he's not a weirdo and he's still like charismatic, and that's what he is in this movie. So yeah, good pick. Number 9, good pick for that one. And 7, surprised nobody else had this. That's another great movie. And this is one where I think this movie has kind of gone down in people's opinions because we remember the ending so much. that you forget. Like, it's a pretty good movie all the way through. So yeah, that's another one I haven't seen in a while. And even with me, I had to go back and think about it, like in my head, like the whole movie. Yeah, it's a pretty good movie. So yeah, for 9 and 8, two great picks. Really good start. So let's switch things up a little bit and go over on to Andrew.
Let's go downhill, boys. So my number 10 is Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Shocker, no one else has that but me. Cool. My number 9 is Road to Perdition. Okay. And I'm hoping for a yikes for this one. My number 8 is The Godfather Part 2.
Yikes.
Excellent. So, Who Framed Roger Rabbit? I think a lot of people are looking on this film right now and they're seeing it as a gimmick film. It's not. It's a really tight script, actually. The Robert Zemeckis' direction is great. All the cartoons blend together seamlessly. They don't look like they belong in different worlds. And Bob Hoskins' performance as Eddie Valiant in this movie is so good. He's acting against nothing for a majority of the film when you think about him actually acting, and he's phenomenal. It's a great mystery movie. There's a great villain. It's a great watch. Go watch it. Number 9 is Road to Perdition. Road to Perdition. It's a Sam Mendes film, if I'm not mistaken. It has Tom Hanks in one of his least Tom Hanksy roles you've ever seen. The cinematography in this movie is absolutely beautiful. It is like you're actually watching a cartoon, like a comic book come to life. Especially like the one shot where it's his son and he's looking through like this little hole in the floor or a wall, and you just see Tom Hanks's legs. It's so good. It's an amazing story with probably one of the best performances Jude Law has ever given as well. It's a great movie, and I highly recommend watching it.
Okay. And your 8 got yikes. So number 10, Roger Rabbit. It counts. Little known fact, the script was originally written as a sequel to Chinatown, and they switched things up a little bit to make it a cartoon. So again, number 10, I'm not going to crucify you for it. But we got, well, you know what? We'll come back to this. We'll depend on how the rest of your looks. We'll look at the rest of your list and see if we're okay with Roger Rabbit number 10. Number 9, Road to Perdition. Great pick. I think this is a movie that's underseen, underrated. I think it's probably one of the best of the 2000s. Hanks is great in it. Jude Law is great in it. Daniel Craig being the kind of roles Daniel Craig should be cast in.
Yes.
Paul Newman's fantastic in it. So yeah, I don't hate that pick at all. I would have been very okay with this much further down the list. But number 9, so be it. So that leaves us. Now we go into 7654. This is the part of the show where everybody else gets a comment. You talk about your movie, I'll talk about your movie, and everybody else gets their input. So, Koho, we'll go back to you. Give us your number 7.
Let's go, boys and girls. Number 7 is In Bruges. Okay. Sad no yikes. In Bruges is the Martin McDonagh debut. I guess the movie that really announced him. I think it's his debut. With Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson being two hitmen that go hide out in Bruges for a crime gone wrong. It is funny. It is emotional. You grow to care for both of them so much so that when the inevitable thing happens and Ralph Fiennes appears, it is heartbreaking, but it is a great ride, a fantastic script, and a really fun movie.
Yeah, I like this one a lot. This is a really good pick, actually. Everything you said about it is true. It's funny. But it's good. It's not cheesy funny. It's real. Like the characters are real and they're grounded. But it's still funny as heck. So yeah, I like this pick a lot. Well, Andrew, I'll start with you. I'll let you go over here because you look like you were kind of mad you missed this one.
Now, I'm not necessarily mad that I missed this one. I'm mad that I missed my list. When I was reconfiguring my list, this would have been my number 11. I love this movie. Martin McDonagh is such a great writer. And by the way, Koho, you're an inanimate fucking object.
You're right. You're right.
All right. Jeff, No In Bruges. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, this was one that was kind of like sitting outside my list. I like looked at it and I was like, yeah, this is definitely a good film. Did it belong in my top 10? It sits outside, but it's a respectful nomination. But good pick, Koho. I like this one.
And Cody, what are your thoughts on this one?
I've sat through a lot of these shitty shows with a lot of shitty people talking about movies that made their top 10 list. I determined how I felt, and would this as crime probably make most people's list? Yeah, it's pretty good, but it's not my personal top 10, so there's no way it's making it. I get it, but Koho also said yikes to Baby Driver, and it wasn't at 7, so God help us fucking all. So, go.
I hear you there. Malcolm, don't worry, we'll get there, buddy.
All right.
Said we'll go on to your number 6.
My number 6 is Hell or High Water.
No,
Cody,
mine's
let's
at the
get
bottom. Mine's at 7, so I can talk about it now.
We can talk about it. This movie is fantastic. I just watched it this year. One of the most deserving Oscar nominees of 2016. It's a great sort of modern Western. Ben Foster is incredible. Jeff Bridges is really good. Chris Pine is just kind of Chris Pine, but it's all he really needs to be in that movie. Like the dialogue is really great. This is my favorite Taylor Sheridan written movie. I think it's his best script. But I mean, I guess I don't have the same love for Sicario as everyone else. I definitely don't like Wind River, but Hell or High Water is a fantastic ride, and I'm blathering now. Cody, go ahead.
No, Hell or High Water was my favorite movie of 2017, right? The year it came out. The entire script is even written for it has the same tones throughout everybody. No one's like miscast. Everybody even the waitress at the restaurant that tells him he's gonna fucking get the steak that he orders because we only serve ribeye, and he just did it and puts Jeff Bridges in his place. Goes to like a simple bike. I think honestly Ben Foster is really good in this, but a lot of people overlook Chris Pine. Chris Pine is honestly really solid in this movie. And the two friends, it ends tragically, and Bridges knows what's up. Like, it's a pretty much cat and mouse game the entire time, and like Ben Foster causes all the things to affect why Chris Pine just has to pretty much let him go near the end. I know it's not out that much, but it's a fantastic movie, and it still holds up. It's going to move up higher more on my crime list the more I watch it, but 7 I think is the appropriate spot for it.
Yeah, this is definitely one that I love. This is my favorite movie of the year. So another great pick, Koho. You're not getting to me yet here, but
we'll get there, Kirk. We'll get there.
But yeah, I mean, this is my favorite of the year. I disagree with you, Koho, in that I think Chris Pine is amazing. He's more than just Chris Pine. This is the first Chris Pine movie I saw where he really showed his acting chops, I think. And of course, Ben Foster's great in it. And I love just a movie where you can have two characters on completely opposite ends with completely opposite motivations and still root equally for both of them. That's the sign of a brilliant story to me. And just like Cody said, cat and mouse between him and Bridges is great in this. Andrew and Jeff, this one didn't make your list. You got to tell me why.
Jeff, do you mind if I go first? Because I saw your reaction.
Yeah, go for it.
So I really like this movie a lot. I think that Chris Pine is one of the most underrated actors that we have working today. I think that, as you guys said, Ben Foster and Jeff Bridges are great. Shout out to Gil Birmingham, who plays his partner. That guy's fantastic, and
that's John Roca.
Yeah,
only assholes drink Mr. Pibb.
He needs to get work more often. But the one thing about this movie that drives me absolutely insane sometimes is that there are some moments in this movie where I can't tell if it's the sound editing or mixing, but something is really off about some scenes when it comes to the sound, and it drives me insane when I watch that movie. So I couldn't get it on my list.
It's a bit of a nitpick, but Jeff, what are your thoughts?
I'm so mad I didn't even think about this movie because I absolutely love Hell or High Water. I think this movie is so good. I mean, we talked about Chris Pine, Jeff Bridges doing great in this. Ben Foster, I think, does an amazing job too in this as well. I don't think he gets near enough praise for this movie as well. But I love the tense cat and mouse aspect of it. It's very layered when you look down into it. When you see. It's just a standard cat and mouse game with like people robbing banks on the surface, but when you go down into it, there's a lot more to it, and it makes it really, really much more interesting. So I'm mad I didn't put this on my list.
If it was made in the 70s, Barr would have it, but too bad.
Okay, Koho, let's move on to your number 5.
As soon as we got into crime, I knew this had to make my top 5. I based today's awesomely fun post off of this movie, Clue. Clue is my favorite murder mystery movie of all time because it is infectious Everyone is hilarious. It's not stupid humor. It's actually some really smart humor. Tim Curry is excellent. The entire mystery itself is fantastic, to the point where you get to the end and you're just like, oh man, I love all three multiple different endings. I think that's a perfect way for a Clue movie to end. I love the game, so I love the movie. God, yeah, it's in one of my top favorite movies. So I love it.
Oh, there's the Koho we know and love. Go back to it.
Sorry, you don't like comedy in your crime movies, Kirk.
Oh, I like comedy in my comedy movies. This is a movie that is shut up, Barr. This is a movie that
Shut up, Brian.
it's just. I mean, there may be a little bit of smart humor in this, but it is a lot of dumb slapstick. And I remember when this came out. I'm that old, and it was just a gimmick. It was just a gimmick. I mean, it was the battleship. It was the battleship of the '80s. That's what this movie was. And it's not that great. I hear people call this a classic, and it's not. It's just not. I mean, you got some fun actors in there doing some fun things, but again, we are talking top 10 crime movies of all time. Get out of here with this. Somebody else talk, because this is nonsense.
Kirk.
I'll go.
Kirk.
Go ahead.
Stop
Go ahead, Goody.
twisting the knife in my back.
I'll go.
You've already stabbed me deep
Shut
enough.
up, Barr. Shut up, Barr. By the way, just to let everybody know, it's only been one list halfway through, and Kirk is definitely welcome back to be a host anytime he'd like. This movie is a great comedy in my eyes. I don't think it's that great of a crime movie. I like the movie a lot. I defend it if you want to put it on there. If I was in the judge's chair, I wouldn't give you too much shit. Tim Curry, like, basically when the cop goes, like, runs down the spiel, like, if you don't let me in, I'm gonna get you for murder, and he pops out that murder. Why'd you say murder? Like, there's no body in here. And then the playing back and forth with, like, I don't need anybody to make me look like an idiot. That's right. It's just the overall, I love that movie. I think it's great. Classic's a little tough. I think it's very cult following. But I don't hate it for your list. It just didn't make mine because I don't consider it great in crime.
Yeah. Fun comedy. I'll give it that. It's a fun comedy, but when you look at crime movies, for this to be 5, I mean, like, damn, Koho, like, what do you consider a masterpiece at this point? I mean, this is. I'm a little nervous to see what 4 is right now, but I mean, everything that was said about Clue is already, has been said. It's a fun movie. Tim Curry's fun in it, but overall, I mean, crime. Come on, y'all.
It's about murder.
Oh my god, I am so angry.
It's about a lot of other movies.
Flames coming out of the side of my face. Flames.
It's out of my face.
That's like saying The Last Airbender was based off of a cartoon, so it was related to a cartoon, so it's good, right?
That's not why I'm taking it down.
You know what? I'm just going to stop right here. All I'm going to say is that I love Clue. I love the performances.
I'm not
screw you guys. I'm going to go home and sleep with my wife.
Thank you.
Oh man. Okay. All right. Koho, you still got one more. Go ahead.
My number 4 is I'll give the minor spoiler. My only Tarantino to make the list. I took Reservoir Dogs. I put a lot of stipulations on my list. One of them was one Tarantino. He's made almost an entire filmography of crime. So I chose this one. I think this is his most crime movie for me. The whole aliases running around and like trying to survive a heist gone wrong. I think Steve Buscemi is excellent as Mr. Pink. Tim Roth is excellent as Mr. Orange, and Harvey Keitel in the middle of it all is excellent. Fantastic ensemble. Michael Madsen is terrifying in this movie. I think overall it's not my favorite Tarantino, but I think it's up there as one of the best Tarantino.
Okay. Yeah. Good pick. This is a good place for this movie. My issue with it, I don't want to say issue. This movie always, the further I get away from it, it tends to drop because it's so stereotypically 90s that kind of starts to blend in with so many other movies that came out this time. And then you compare it to his later work and you're like, oh, it wasn't that good. But every time I go back to it, I still love it. And I'm like, oh, this is why I like this movie. So yeah, I am not going to dog this pick at all. I don't like that it's your only. I don't like. There you go. I don't like that it's your only Tarantino. I don't think that's a fair prerequisite for your list. If you're going to pick one Tarantino, this is not the one I would have picked. But again, grading the rest of your list on your curve, this is fantastic. So nobody else picked Reservoir Dogs. We will go. Andrew, why don't you go with this one first?
If I had to pick one Tarantino movie, this is the one that I would have also picked. Reservoir Dogs is actually my favorite Tarantino movie in general. I think that the story is really tight, especially having like almost like one singular location for most of it. I love the performances. I think it's just a really tight crime movie, and I really love this movie a lot.
All right, and Cody, I see you got a special reaction. So Jeff, why don't we go to you next?
This is my number 3 Tarantino movie. I like the movie; it's good. I don't think it's the best crime movie though. I do like when movies can take songs that I like and make them creepy. So Stuck in the Middle with You always now has a weird place now whenever I hear it. But the movie itself is fine. I don't hate it. I don't love it. It's good though. When it's good, it's good. When it's bad, it's yeah.
All right, and Cody, you seem like you had something to say about this.
So no, like I love Reservoir Dogs is one of my favorites of Tarantino. I made a conscious decision that I included no Tarantino. I had 0 Tarantino on my list. For the simple fact is when you make a shitty movie in the summer and make me sit 2.5 hours, you get a timeout on my list. You just go sit in the corner. Good choice, but F Tarantino right now. No, thank you. Jerk off in Hollywood some other time. Don't put me on screen to make me watch it for 2.5 hours.
All right, okay. Decorum.
Nope.
All right, so
I would mute him, but I agree.
Hey,
I'm
the captain now. Mute him when I say mute him.
I would agree.
Okay, well, Cody, we're coming. Unmute because we're coming to you for your 7-6-5-4, and your 7 we already hit. That was Yikes for Hella High Water. So let's move on to your number 6.
My number 6 is a movie I just saw this year. People told me, it's not as good as you think it is. I absolutely fell in love with this movie. I think it's great. It's also set in Boston, so it kind of helps. I'm going Mystic River. Mystic River. The performance that once was argued on this show is not as good as Johnny Depp's performance in Pirates of the Caribbean. Sean Penn's performance when he finds out that his daughter has been murdered is one of the scariest. Like I feel I'm a dad, so that reaction killed me watching it. I think if I didn't have kids, it wouldn't have hit me as hard. But that one to lose one of your kids by just an act that didn't need to happen. And the cat and mouse and him thinking he knows what's happening. And that gut punch at the end of the movie, I will not ruin it. It's on Netflix right now. That gut punch at the end of the movie I absolutely fell in love with this movie. I think I understand why some people might not be big on it, but for somebody that just saw it and was captivated, that's why it made my list.
All right. Another spoiler, this is the second best movie based in Boston on your list. I had just, again, this is another one that I watched for your list, and I enjoyed it. It's a good movie. Penn is great in it, and just like you, I'm a dad, so that was a rough to watch. I did not, enjoy certain parts of this movie because it was a little too real. Right. But yeah, I love Penn's character in it. I love that kind of like guy who's kind of weaved his way in and out of a life of crime and is like kind of taking one step back, but is ready to jump right back in when he needs to. I just love that whole dynamic, his relationship with his friends and his wife and everything. I think 6 is a little high for this. I don't know if I'd put top 10. I think 6 is a little high. But yeah, I mean, it's not a terrible choice for your list. So we will go on to Jeff, Andrew, Koho, whoever wants to speak up. Nobody went with Mystic River.
No.
I'll start. I like Mystic River. I think it's a pretty good movie, but aside from Sean Penn and Tim Robbins' characters, it didn't really connect with me in the way that I had wanted to or was hoping it would. I think it's a really good movie. It just doesn't connect with me as much as I would have liked for it to.
I say in the same boat as you, Cody and Kirk. Coming from a dad's perspective, this movie hurts a lot to watch, and I think that's kind of why it didn't make my top 10. Just because it's one of those movies it's good, but it's not one you want to rewatch over and over again because you just feel unclean and you just don't feel good after it. But yeah, Sean Penn in this movie is, oh my God, is he good in this? Tim Robbins too. But outside of that, there isn't like too many shining stars outside of those two. But overall, I mean, like the movie itself is really good, but it's again one of those I put in like the same realm of like Foxcatcher. It's a good movie, but I never want to watch it again.
Koho, how about you?
Johnny Depp should have won his Oscar for Pirates of the Caribbean. Black Girl. I also think Kirk needs to come back and judge a top 10 movie set in Boston and make Cody sit on the panel. I think that would be great. But yeah.
Won't do it.
Real quick, Thomas Scully, I see your comment. Shut up.
No. Okay.
Okay.
So I guess go to my 5?
Yeah, let's do number 5 now.
Oh, this one is going to get some maybe reaction. I don't really care. It is Arsenic and Old Lace. This movie, I am not a classics guy by any means. I need color. I need visual effects that hold up. I need humor. This movie took me by total surprise. J.D. West, I've never thanked you for anything, but I'll thank you for putting this on Full Metal in the last season. After watching this one, I feel like the comedy in this movie is better than comedy shot today. I believe the actual crime elements of this movie actually work really well, and it's kind of surprising how the elements just keep adding on to each other. And I will never think of Theodore Roosevelt ever again the same way. So.
I'll tell you what, Cody, I love this pick. It's out of the box. It's different. It's a great pick. I love Arsenic and Old Lace. You're right. I mean, it's a funny movie. It's a tense crime film when it needs to be. A lot of great performances in it. It's it takes the aspects of the play and transforms them into a film perfectly. So yeah, this is a good pick. I like it at number 5. I like it made your list. And it's a lot of fun. Barr, well, I'll go to you last, Andrew, because I know you got a lot to say about this. Koho, Arsenic and Old Lace.
I have never seen Arsenic and Old Lace, but Cody talks about it like it's really, really good. And when Cody talks about a classic like it's the next coming of Christ, that probably means it is. So I should probably give it a chance.
If Andrew and Cody both like it, it's probably pretty good. Jeff, your thoughts on Arsenic and Old Lace?
No, this is a good pick, Cody. Like I know it's like the new Medina for you to be like, oh, he doesn't like black and white films, so good for you for proving the haters wrong. Stand strong. But this movie is great. I do love this movie a lot. It is it has a lot of charm to it. It has a lot of good elements to it that just work. So again, this is another one I'm kind of mad that I do not have on my list of this was a solid pick. So yeah.
And Andrew, this is one I would expect to show up on your list.
Okay, so I love this movie. I really do. I was in the play and I watched the movie and I loved this. Frank Capra proves that he can do comedy like really, really well with this. And Cary Grant, I know Cary Grant actually thinks this is his worst performance, but I think it's a great performance. And one of my favorite lines of all time, I'm gonna get it wrong, but it's like madness runs through my family. It practically gallops. I love that line. It's such a smart script, and I love this movie so much. The only reason it's not on mine is because while it makes probably my top 100 films of all time, there just happen to be 10, 11 movies that I like better.
Yeah. Well, as far as number 5s go, I'll say this, Cody, you got the crime comedy right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
So let's move on to your number 4.
Okay, so my top 4 were locked before this, before I even started coming up with the list. My number 2 went back and forth, but my number 4 was always 2007's Zodiac. Zodiac is a movie. My best friend in college said, "Have you ever seen Zodiac?" I said, "No, I don't. I know about the murder, but I don't know the movie." And that movie, I think I bounced back and forth with Fincher as best movie because that's really rough for me. But this is amazing. This movie, the performance throughout it. I'm always a true crime buff, so this is like takes that element instead of like mob and all that mentality of just. And I'm with Brooklyn. No yikes, which kind of scares me. That's sad. But Zodiac is one of those movies that embraces the true crime, and I think he's the perfect director to do that movie. And I don't think there's been a better true crime movie since this movie. So it's one of my favorites.
Yeah, I really like this movie. Well, I like half this movie. To me, this is almost like two films in one. I love the first half, and I love what Fincher does with it. And I love that it almost has some buddy comedy elements with Gyllenhaal and Downey Jr., and then with the Ruffalo and the other guy who played before it. I forget who it is. But it's almost kind of lighthearted in a lot of places, and it's more about those relationships in the first half, and that's what I really connected to this movie. The second half, when certain characters start to disappear and it becomes more of a straight procedural, I lost interest a little bit in it. So that's kind of why it wouldn't make my list personally. I think 4 is really high for this actually, but I don't hate it on your list in general. I just don't think it belongs this high. No one else had it. What do you guys think about Zodiac?
I guess I'll start on this one. Oh, okay. The movie, yeah, I kind of agree with you, Kirk. Like half this movie is really good. I loved the fact, like building up this character that we didn't know about. This was a story I didn't really know about, and going into it, it was really interesting to like see how it was pieced together and how it went about. And then it really lost its focus. It lost a lot of momentum, definitely in the second half. And the almost 3-hour runtime, it felt like it was dense just for the sake of being dense, and that's where it kind of lost me in a way. You can have long movies, but you need to have a good purpose with it, and that was where it kind of lost it for me. So it's good, but it's not great.
It's a movie about obsession, and I think that's what the 3-hour runtime actually helps increase. And also in that second half, that's where the basement scene comes in, which is one of the most pulse-pounding scenes I've ever seen in a movie. And that's also when John Carroll Lynch, am I getting his name right? He comes in. And he's also terrifying. I love this movie. It just missed my list. This is my favorite Fincher movie. And I wish I had more space for the list, but it just missed it. I love this movie.
This was the hardest list I've ever had to make, and I literally forgot about all true crime. And I feel so stupid because Zodiac would have totally made my top 5.
All right.
That's upsetting. I'm an idiot.
Okay, let's move on to let's go to Jeff. Let's start with your number 7.
All right. This is kind of the cliche pick. Everybody who says they love film and want to be a director who wants to be like this guy, they always put this movie somewhere in one of their top films that they love because it transcends multiple genres, not just for crime, not just for drama or action, but for comic books. It is The Dark Knight from Christopher Nolan. Wow. Okay, I'm surprised, but in a sense, I'm kind of not in a way too. I mean, when Batman Begins came out, everybody was like kind of like, okay, like this was a good reboot for Batman. Everybody's kind of excited for this, And then when this came out, everybody was kind of like, oh, I'll see it, And then it would kind of just shell shocked everybody with just how well it worked on so many different layers with it. It was not only a good action film and a good drama, but it had a lot of good crime elements to it that really made it more grounded into making us believe this universe even more. And that's what I loved about it. The performances, Christian Bale does a really good job. Gary Oldman, of course, does a great job as Commissioner Gordon. But then you have, Heath Ledger's amazing performance. It gives a believability to it, and it gives you something to be genuinely afraid of. And that's really something that's it rattles your core immediately right there. And then you have like when they have like Michael Jai White's character and the whole was it Hong Kong or Beijing? I forget which one. Whichever one.
Hong Kong.
Hong Kong, I think. Yeah, it was right. Okay. Yeah, the whole like stuff going on in Hong Kong and everything, like the trading going on there, it created a lot of tension, and it made it work in so many ways that I can't just ignore it. It's not the highest ranking one here, but I still think it at least needs to be talked about, deserved in this list.
Okay. Dark Knight's a great movie. It's a great comic book movie, but I think if we're going to filter it through the lens of crime movie, I think it's kind of derivative. I mean, I think Nolan even says, he basically showed everybody Heat and like just said, we're going to do this. That opening heist is fantastic. It's really well shot. It's a great opening that movie, and of course, Joker's a fantastic villain. But I get if we're looking at it, if we're calling it a crime movie, I think there are a whole lot better crime movies that we could put on this list. Yikes!
Nope.
Yikes. But yeah, I mean, number 7, that's not a bad place for it. I don't know if it belongs on the list at all. 7's not that high, so I won't give you too much flack for it. But like I said, if we're doing comic book movies or superhero movies, this should be a lot higher. But through the lens of crime, there's a lot better stuff out there. No one else had it, so go.
I like this movie. I think that Heath Ledger's performance is brilliant in this movie. I think Gary Oldman's is brilliant. I think the opening of this movie is probably one of the greatest crime scenes ever. But yeah, I kind of agree. I don't really see this as a crime movie because we focus a lot more on Bruce Wayne and Batman. So I don't see it as a crime movie.
It's fair.
I 100% see it as a crime movie. It would have made mine. And for everyone who goes, the head of Fandom doesn't have this Fandom movie on his list. I didn't have Road to Perdition either, and both were stricken off because I made the conscious decision that I was not going to include any superhero movies on this list for sake of diversity and putting a bunch of other movies that I'd rather talk about on this list. Because how many more times do we need to talk about The Dark Knight? Honestly,
Road to Perdition is not a superhero movie.
Yeah, no, Road to Perdition is a DC comic book movie. So that's why I made the decision to cut it also. But yeah.
Cody?
3 years in this community. Besides the fan community, just in movie. I'm fucking tired of The Dark Knight. I'm going to be honest with you. I like the movie, but I'm scared to even watch it anymore. Because either you have sweaties that freaking salivate at the moment you mention anything, or it's fine. I like the movie. I actually like Star Wars before I entered this community. I actually hate probably Star Wars and Batman. But I will say, whoever put in the chat, Joker's a fantastic movie. It's amazing. So you should go see that. That's all I gotta say.
Okay, Jeff, what is your number 6?
Number 6, I'm pretty much guaranteed to not get any yikes on this one. I love I'm usually... What? No, it's not heavyweights, but I do love heavyweights. It's a crime. Nobody likes that movie as much as anyone else does. Yeah. For this one, I don't venture a lot into foreign language films, not just because I hate them, but I do love a good foreign language film every now and then. And this one it ranks as probably one of my favorites of all time. And it is just so well done. It is so beautifully shot. It is the Portuguese language film City of God, or Cidade de Deus. Yes.
Go on, bigger Papa. Go on, man. Look at you. Making us all look trash. Go ahead.
Yeah, Cidade de Deus. Obviously, I'm probably offending multiple people right now. But this was loosely adapted off of a memoir from somebody who was a photographer who grew up in a suburb outside of Rio de Janeiro in Brazil that was commonly known as the City of God. And there was a lot of crime in this area. It started out basically like a projects, if you will, and there was a lot of drugs going on, a lot of drug dealing going on, and then it started turning into gang wars. And just seeing the evolution of children holding up people and shooting innocent people just for the sake of shooting them and seeing them laughing, it rattles you to the point even more than the Joker. He just starts shooting. It's crazy to see. It is so beautifully shot. It gives you a good glimpse into the seediness of what people expect paradise to be, and that is what the goal of this movie was to do, and what this person's memoir ultimately was. He took photographs with the gangs and wanted to document what life was really like, and it was just unbelievably brutal. It is such a beautifully shot film. It is so good to see. I absolutely recommend it.
No, this is a great pick. Yeah, it's a great story, and it's the way it's told, like you said, through the lives of these kids. It's like a really dark, gritty, gross coming-of-age story with the life of these kids and the life of crime they have from a very small age, and just basically how they have no other choice. That's all really they have to turn to. And it is a great looking movie. I love that you put it on this list, especially, we don't know a lot of foreign language movies so far, and a lot of great foreign language picks that could have been made. So I'm glad there is some representation here. The rest of you guys, and have you seen City of God? And if so, what are your thoughts?
I've been meaning to. I've heard Lil Zay is one of the best villains of the century.
Oh my God, he is so scary. It is so
I've been meaning to watch it. I've been doing a little bit more deep dives into foreign films. I just haven't seen it yet.
I saw it for a debate, and I'm uncultured swine, and I should have put it on my list. So fair. Sorry, Nazario Montenegro. I had to debate him on it, and I should have put it. My bad.
It's a great movie. Yeah, if you that's the takeaway. If you haven't seen that, see City of God. Jeff, let's move on to your number 5.
All right, number 5. Again, I love movies that are based off of true events, and you can kind of like make them interesting, and you can give them something good to talk about. This was one of those films from, I believe it was the 70s, if I have my instrument. Yep, from the 70s that I watched later on in life, and I was like, I've heard good things. Let's give this a watch. Let's see what it's all about. And was immediately hooked in from the opening minutes. And you just want to keep watching to see how it unfolds and where it goes from there. I am, of course, talking about the 1975 Al Pacino film, Dog Day Afternoon. This was just such a fun film to watch. One of the things
hold on 1 second, Jeff.
Mm-hmm.
We need to take a little pause here because I want to point out the lack of yikes here.
Thank you.
Incredibly disappointing.
Thank you. What I love about this movie, and what people kind of forget with hostage situations, is that there's a lot of nothingness that goes on too between it. Like a lot of people they always focus on the phone call between the negotiator and the bank robber, and like the tension, I need a plane and everything like that. There's a lot of in between that people kind of forget about, and then they start getting a relationship with like the bank tellers, and it eventually turns into what the media called it as a circus. They're going outside parading that there's injustice and that there's so many other layered things here. It makes it insanely enjoyable to watch. There's so many good things to like about this movie, and the performances. Al Pacino has never been better than compared to this movie. I think it's one of his finest performances of all time. Dog Day Afternoon is an amazing crime film.
Yeah, this is an amazing movie. Pacino gives probably his best performance, in my opinion, one of the best performances ever in film. I love him in this movie. Like you said, a lot of people talk about this movie. They talk about the shouty, the Attica, and everything. But like you said, Jeff, those quiet moments and that tension and that pressure that he's feeling, the way he expresses that, you look at his eyes. Just watch his eyes through this movie, and it tells you the whole story of what he's going through. It's I think the best bank heist movie. It's the best hostage situation movie, and it just because it's so real. You see that sweat, and it's just gross and dirty. It's an amazing movie. Nobody else had us on this list. Andrew, I'm going to start with you because I know for a fact you just recently watched this movie for the first time. So show me on the doll where good movies hurt you.
Honestly, I really like this movie. I really do. I think it is a great movie.
And here's the but.
But the other 10 movies on my list, I just happen to enjoy more. I'm not saying Dog Day Afternoon is not a great movie, because it is, and it is Al Pacino's best performance. And the one scene that I always really like is the conversation between him and Chris Sarandon over the phone.
Mm-hmm.
That scene is fantastic. I just enjoy these 10 a little bit more, even though I do think it is a great movie and deserves to be mentioned on here.
All right. And Koho and Cody, your thoughts?
I have never seen this movie. We'll make it.
See it.
I'm sorry it wasn't made in 2002, Jesus Christ.
I have seen this. I've been on record before. I'm not the biggest Pacino fan. I don't like Pacino. I think he's fine in some movies. This one is good. I haven't seen it as often as I've seen everything else, so I'm not saying it just didn't really stick with me that much. So sorry. Hooah!
That's like 25 years later, man. You're way ahead of things there.
It'd be better if it was in this.
Oof.
Scully.
All right.
Scully.
Okay.
I love you, buddy, but
okay, Jeff, moving on to your number 4.
Number 4. I know this is going to be weird to say considering what we're talking about, but hear me out. I love movies that I can connect to on a personal level. I know it's a weird thing to talk to about on a crime movies list, but I'm talking more so on the video production end of things. This is something that when I saw it, I was just so shook, I guess is what the kids say anymore, because it was true. A lot of what they said in this movie was so true, and it was just it was a complete shock to watch, but I was so enamored with it. I am talking about the Jake Gyllenhaal film Nightcrawler. This movie was just a complete amazing. It was so good. This is one of those rare performances from an actor where you don't see the actor, you see the character. The fact that he wasn't nominated for this movie is a crime. That's a crime in and of itself, because he was just lost in this character. Seeing the seedy underbelly of like how TV news networks perceive like what is shown to people in terms of crime, it's so on the head. It's almost frightening, because they made a comment in the movie, if it bleeds, it leads, or think of our network as somebody with running down the street with their throat slit. That is so true for news networks. It hit me like right here, because it's just so creepy in that way. But I love the way it was shot. The performances are great, and just love this movie.
Yeah, it's not a bad movie. I'm not going to say this is a terrible movie. But number 4 is that's a rough one. There are I think this movie, again, it's good and Gyllenhaal's good in it, but I think it's derivative of a couple other movies that do this a lot better. One of them being a crime movie, and maybe we'll see somebody will bring it up later. But yeah, I'm not gonna knock you for liking this movie, especially like you said, the connection you have to it. But I will say that number 4 is super high for Nightcrawler. Yes, Cody.
Did you know that Jake Gyllenhaal gives one of the best performances of all time in this movie? It's amazing. I just love it so much. He's so good and complex.
He should have been nominated for an Oscar for this movie.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I've heard that for a long time in this community too, and it's okay. It's a fine movie. It's more of a thriller more than anything. I get it, and it's pretty high. So Nightcrawler didn't even consider. I made a list of 25. It didn't make my 25. So no.
Koho, may I do the honors?
Yes,
Jake Gyllenhaal gives one of the best performances of the decade in this movie. That scene where he's at the mirror and he just snaps is amazing acting. That is some of the best acting I've ever seen. Also, one of my another line from this decade that I actually really love is, if you want to win the lottery, you gotta buy the ticket. That has stuck with me, and that has always always skeeved me out. I think this is a really great movie. It just didn't come close to my list.
Go.
I did not consider this as a crime film. I don't really consider it as a crime film. It's like Cody said, it really is a thriller in my mind. It didn't make my list, and I did go past 10. I think I went to 18, and it wasn't on mine of those. Jake Gyllenhaal does give one of the best performances of the decade within it, but it's not. I don't think the movie as a whole fits into the crime genre for me. And if it is technically labeled a crime film, then it just doesn't register with me as a crime film. Then I guess I don't know.
See, I think Gyllenhaal's good in it, but I feel like this is just creepy Jake Gyllenhaal. This is he flips a switch and he's does the eye thing and it's Jake Gyllenhaal. But okay, Andrew, we're coming on to you. It's your turn. So we will start with your number 7.
My number 7. My number 7 is the movie that should have beat Titanic for Best Picture. It is L.A. Confidential.
Any movie?
L.A. Confidential in specific.
Okay.
This is a really good noir film. It's anchored by a lot of really strong performances. You've got Russell Crowe giving one of his best. You have Guy Pearce giving arguably his best overall. You have Danny DeVito. You have James Cromwell being great in this movie. And you have Christopher Plummer. He's really great in this as well. But I think what I really love most about it is it's got a really good pace to it. It's got a really good pace to it. It doesn't overstay its welcome, and it does a really good job piecing everything together at a rate that you can easily stay with. And also, it's got some nods to old Hollywood, and I mean that's you're pandering to me just there. So,
okay, yeah, this is a good movie. I love Guy Pearce's arc in this. The what his character goes through. That's probably my favorite part about it. Got some great performances. For me personally, it's a good movie, not a great one. I I enjoy it. You have what, number 7?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not going to complain about it. I'm not going to throw a parade for you either. But this is again. I think it's slightly overrated by the people who overrate it. If that makes sense. But I don't have anything negative to say about it. It's just it's kind of there. Nobody else had on their list.
No, it's not Brian. Shut up.
Brian,
Get
off my show, Brian.
Get off my plane.
But nobody else had
That was
on
a
their
better
list.
movie that could have won Best Picture than Titanic.
Anybody else have thoughts on LA Confidential and why it's on your list?
I competed in a confidential movie league for a while. that turned into cornhole. So on that note, no, because I've actually never seen this movie. It's actually one of my biggest misses, but I've never seen it because somebody called themselves confidential and I refused.
I have seen this movie. This would fall on like 17 on mine. I think it's good, not great. I like Guy Pearce a lot in it. I like Russell Crowe, I guess. And I know it's like the name that shall not be said, but I think Kevin Spacey's also really good in this movie. I think the movie as a whole, it is really long. It feels really long.
We're getting canceled. Way to go, Koho.
We are. I'm sorry. I said the name. But I think it's fine. Like, it's good. It's not a bad movie. It's not one I'm going to go back to again.
Yeah, I'm pretty much in the same boat. It's fine. I mean, like when I was looking at the list, it would make the top 50, but not even cracking like top 30. It's fine, but it's not one that I'm like itching to go back and watch over and over again. It's fine for what it is. The performances are fine.
But give the man Nightcrawler any day of the week. Okay.
Hell yes.
All right.
Love it.
And did everybody talk about LA Confidential?
Yep.
Did everybody? Okay. Barr, what's your number 6?
This is what everyone knows and loves me for. It's time to talk about old Hollywood and tell these whippersnappers how great movies from the 50s were. It's On the Waterfront. I think On the Waterfront is absolutely brilliant. This movie is amazing. It actually cracks my top 25 favorite movies of all time. Marlon Brando's performance in this is great. Oh my God, Lee J. Cobb. Lee J. Cobb as Johnny Friendly is one of the best villains in any movie at all. Why am I blanking on the director's name? It's
Elliot Kazan.
Elliot Kazan. I kept wanting to say it, like Eliza Kazan, and I knew that was wrong. This is easily his best directed movie. The shots in this are fantastic. The story is so good about this guy, like, who used to be a boxer and now he's like basically a brute for this. Let's be honest, he's a gangster. He's a union leader, but he's a gangster. And him like getting up the nerve to basically become a whistleblower and turn him into the police. It's so good, and it's really it's one of the best films ever made, in my opinion.
Yeah, this is a good one. I'm not going to give you any flack about this at number 6. I think for me, this movie, what I remember, it's been a while since I saw it. What I remember about this movie is Brando's performance, and I think that overshadows everything else. But I know it's a great movie, and I'm not going to say anything about it at number 6. I still think Cody had the better classic with Our Six Old Lace, personally. But at number 6, that's a good spot for On the Waterfront. The rest of you guys, I know this is not necessarily your bread and butter, but what are your thoughts on? Go ahead, Koho.
Drinking game continues. I haven't seen it. Take a shot.
Oh, everybody, let's do another drinking game. Barr picks a movie that's very pretentious and bullshit. Oh, fair. Okay. I like it. It's fine. Crime movies get on my face. Like, stop. Top 10, please.
Absolutely.
If it was released in 2009, it wouldn't even make your top 50. Shut your
Oh, we'll get to something about that later, Cody. Don't worry.
Yeah.
This is a good movie. I think this is one of those where the performance outshines the rest of the film. I will say, like, the last 15 minutes of this movie is just amazing. Like, that is it's one of the better endings I've seen in a long time. But overall, it's a good movie. I don't think it's spectacular, but it's good.
Just one more thing before we move on.
No.
Carl Malden's speech at the one
Yeah.
funeral. Oh, great. Okay.
Carl Malden's goodness.
Cut him off.
All right. Barr, your number 5.
All right, I'm just gonna skip over this because I know it's gonna get yikes. There's no way in hell this isn't gonna get next to
With this
Godfather.
group.
Good.
Okay, thank God.
Thank God.
And your number 4?
My number 4. Here we go, Cody. It's Baby Driver.
Yikes.
Great.
Oh no! Oh no! Jeez. Now we'll talk about this later. But
Are we kidding me?
Nope.
Was there one released in the 50s or 40s or 20s?
I'm just going to say right now, look at Barr's number 5, and then look at his number 4.
You know what beats the Godfather?
I've never
Music.
been so offended.
Yes.
That is just so
I stand
wrong.
by it. I stand by it.
That we'll come back to this. We're going to come back. We'll be back.
In fairness, I had mine at 10.
So that's your number 4. Okay, so oh God, I've made a huge mistake. We're getting into our
My number 3 is about to get yikes. Let's just get it over with. My 3 is The Departed.
Yikes.
There you go. There you go.
Okay.
You know what we do?
Cody, you're number 3.
You a clown? Are you here to amuse me? I'm doing Goodfellas.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Okay. Jeff, you're number 3.
My number 3. I'm surprised this wasn't brought up sooner, but I love this movie just for the sake of the rewatchability. Training Day. Damn.
Cody's in so much pain right now.
All right, I guess I'm talking now. Training Day. Yeah, I'm surprised this movie wasn't brought up. I mean, when you look at like crime movies, this is one of the most rewatchable ones. I think this is one I can, if it's on TV, yeah, it's gonna be edited down heavily, but it's easily one you can watch on TV if it's a 3:00 on a Wednesday or if it's 8:00 on a Saturday. This is one movie I can enjoy watching all the time. I love when you can take an actor who is charismatic like Denzel Washington, who's usually known for being like the leading man or the good guy, the straight arrow, and then you have him flip a total 180 and have him be a charismatic villain. It is just like the minute he's on the screen, you just want to keep hearing more what he has to say. You want to keep seeing how he interacts with Ethan Hawke's character. I love seeing just the natural progression of these two as the day goes on. By far the best scene of this movie. Everybody talks about the ending, the King Kong ain't got shit on me scene. No, I'm gonna do one better. The scene in the house with that when they're playing the poker game and then they're in the shower. That scene is nothing but pure tension for like 8 minutes straight. It is so friggin' good, and it's just so fun to watch, and it's just, this is a fun movie. I'm surprised this really wasn't brought up, but in terms of rewatchability, one of the most rewatchable.
Yeah, I think this is kind of a mediocre movie that is inflated by a fantastic performance from Denzel Washington. And let's face it, Denzel's kind of made a career doing that, taking forgettable movies and making them a lot better just by being there. Yeah, maybe it's rewatchable. Maybe it's good like background Saturday afternoon movie. But I mean, number 3 all-time crime movie, I don't see it. Again, I'm not going to say it's a bad movie, but you got this way too high. Nobody else had it on their list, so go ahead, Cody.
Denzel Washington's Denzel Washington is my favorite actor of all time. I think he's amazing. I think this movie, I'm with Kirk 100%. I think this movie is just driven by Denzel. The rest of the movie, blah, pretty much. Like every time he's on scene, when he like has Ethan Hawke in the car and tells him to smoke, and he's like, get the fuck out of my car. Just get the fuck out. Like he's just pissed. And like his 0 to 60 is like my favorite in this entire movie. I think this was just, he won the Oscar, which is a great performance. I think he got rewarded because he didn't win for Malcolm X. But still, his performance in this movie is amazing. That King Kong line, you can say what you want, but that is awesome. It just missed my list because the overall movie is, if you take Denzel out and put him with anybody or other actor, that movie is a train wreck. But put him in there, it's watchable. But I respect it. Me and him both like Denzel, so I figure it'd be on there.
Oh, I love it. Denzel's great. Koho, Andrew.
I've never seen Training Day.
Fuck Koho. This movie was in 2001. This fits your criteria.
I haven't seen movies made after the 21st century either. I don't watch movies. Guys, guess what? I haven't even seen La La Land. I just say it's my favorite. No, I'm kidding.
He just is here to have his opinion heard. That's it. He doesn't care what it is. I just want to hear myself talk.
Get ready for me to blow your mind. I haven't seen this movie.
Oh my.
Well,
okay.
Hey, when you get to the end of it, that's going to be you. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, Andrew, let's talk about something you had seen because you're number 3.
Jeff, that hurts because we go right into it. And it's too bad. I guess I'm filling in for Kaleb Boatman tonight because my number 3 is The Third Man, baby.
Fuck you.
Yeah!
Get off this call. Leave.
Yeah!
I don't care if you started Creed 2. Leave.
This movie is so good. Literally, the only thing that keeps it as low as it is because the music really doesn't fit the movie. The music really doesn't fit the movie. But it's so good. The mystery behind this is amazing. You're so focused on finding out who killed Harry Lime, and then spoilers, you find out Harry Lime is still alive, and he's the head of this giant, like almost like underground fake penicillin ring. And then Holly, his best friend, who was going to live with him originally, has to take him down. It's so brilliantly told. That cuckoo clock monologue is one of the best monologues in movie history. If you're going to watch anything from that movie, watch that monologue because it's so rich and dense. Yeah, once again, the only thing that brings it down is the music really doesn't really match the rest of the movie, but the direction, the cinematography, the acting, the script, the mystery itself is so good. Watch this movie.
I have watched it, and what you're saying, everything you're saying there, Andrew, is part of the problem. I wish I could have came to this movie, just kind of found it and discovered it, because I mean, I saw it with all the hype of, it's the greatest, one of the greatest crime movies, greatest mysteries, and I'd seen it with all that. It had already been spoiled for me. I knew the ending, so I watched it. I'm like, yeah, it's good. It's all right. Maybe it's better than I gave it credit for. At number 3, I still think it's high. I'm not going to let you slide on that. Number 3 is a real high pick for this. If you would have had it maybe in your bottom 5, I'd let you slide a little bit. But number 3, I think, is really high for The Third Man. I do not think it lives up to the hype. I think there's better movies in this genre from this era that you could have picked. I think there's better crime movies that you could have picked.
Barr, blink twice if you're under pressure.
But yeah, I don't think this movie deserves the credit you're giving it. So again, not terrible, but number 3 all time is kind of ridiculous. Everybody else seems to have fill-ins on this, so I'll let you go.
This feels like this is like if I put B movie at number 3 as my crime movie because it was a crime that wasn't nominated. Like, shut the fuck up. This isn't mean at this point. And I will never fucking watch The Third Man because of you and Boatman. Never. Now, not only has this been spoiled for me 5 times already by you telling me what the ending is and the twist, I have no desire to watch this movie because of how much you and Boatman flayed it.
The twist comes halfway through. I don't think it's like a real...
I don't care. I'm never watching this movie because of you. Let that sink in.
Watch the cuckoo clock monologue at least.
No, go away. I'm not interested in your book. Leave me alone.
Let me tell you the praises of The Third Man.
All right, Jeff and Cody. Either you guys have strong feelings on The Third Man? Nope.
Nah.
No. Stop.
Wouldn't that be ironic?
This needs to end. Third Man can burn in. Where is it shot, though? Like, where's this plot of this movie set? Fair. Thanks. Just needing to go. Move on.
Okay, moving on to number 2. Koho, give me your number 2.
My number 2 is another Coen Brother movie. It's No Country for Old Men.
Figured.
No, yikes. Well, okay.
This is a 2. One's put it. If you didn't put it at 1, no one else.
Fair enough. But I think this is the best Coen Brother movie. I think it's their best directed. It's their best shot. It has their best performance in any of their movies in it. In Javier Bardem, it's thrilling. It's tense. If Cody said Cat and Mouse earlier, this is the better Cat and Mouse movie. with Javier Bardem and Josh Brolin going back and forth throughout the entire movie. I think it's fantastic. I can watch this movie honestly whenever, and it has the same effect on me. Yeah, I absolutely adore No Country for Old Men.
Yeah, this is another one where when I first saw it, I didn't like it at all. I did not understand the hype. I rewatched it and I liked it a little better. But still, I don't think it's deserving of all the accolades and praise it gets. Technically, objectively, it's a good movie. I'm not going to say anything to disparage it, but I think 2 is super high for this movie. You guys obviously agree with me, so everybody give me your thoughts on No Country for Old Men.
Okay. I really like this movie. However, for you to say it's the Coen brothers' best movie, you are wrong, sir. You couldn't be more wrong. I think that it also having the best performance in a Coen brothers movie is the second best. We'll get to that later. But I like this movie. I think the fact that there's no music in it it makes it a little bit more chilling. And it has some really great scenes. I just don't think it belongs in a top 10 of all time list.
No,
I forgot to mention one thing: the coin flip scene. What's the most you've ever lost in a coin toss? Maybe my favorite scene from the 2010s. Anyway,
Not the most,
or for the
tense
2000s.
scene, though. The most tense scene is the "you don't have to do this." Everyone says that. Everyone says what?
Hey, Kirk, I'll do it for you. Shut up. No Country for Old Men is the same thing that I feel about Training Day. Honestly, it's one great performance in a movie that's okay. I think Javier Bardem is fantastic in this movie. I think Josh Brolin's okay, but the rest of the movie doesn't have a lot of rewatchability factor. I can't just tune it on anytime. It's once you know the cat and mouse, like even like Hell or High Water has fun moments into it. It gets you out of the thing. Once you know the cat and mouse, it's the mouse, and it's got caught. We get it. Like it's not entertaining for me. So Javier Bardem's amazing in this movie. The overall, meh.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat as you. I think this is like out of like all the Coen brothers, this is one of the more overrated ones in my opinion. Yes, Javier Bardem is really good in this movie. Yes, the coin flip scene is really good, but aside from that, yeah, this isn't a movie I'm gonna be like, let's watch this, because yeah, you can be a slow burn movie, but you gotta do something interesting a little bit better. You know, this is just no.
Or I hate
it because it's so like depressing and slow and just blah. Sorry, that was my Ryan Permison.
I wish I could quit this show.
All right, Cody, your turn. What's your number 2?
My number 2 goes back and forth with its sequel, but this week it's the original. It's The Godfather.
Nice.
I love that. By the way, real quick, I love that Brian Michaels is in the chat. I thank you for supporting the show. But you hate mob movies, so then I don't know why you're here, because you're always like, "Wow, that one made my list." Well, it's not made for you.
You called me the voice of reason. I'm taking that.
Is it possible to mute or kick Brian, because I don't want him to embarrass himself any further with his comments?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Cody. I'm sorry.
So The Godfather, it goes back and forth. I think I didn't give these enough credit when I was I didn't give it enough credit when I watched them originally. When I didn't watch them originally, I didn't give them enough credit. But watching them back to back is one of the best like cinema experiences that I can recommend to anybody. They're long, but they fly by for me. Even though like some people complained about The Irishman's first hour. Well, the first hour of The Godfather, there's a lot of camera breaking and a lot of family kissing and stuff like that. But let me tell you, it builds as it goes on. The Godfather, the back and forth, the family struggle. I really like Al Pacino. I don't like Al Pacino, but in this movie is insane. He gets really good in the second one. Don't get me wrong. But you see that snap. And I like the setup more than I like the delivery. And that's why I like The Godfather 1 right now more than Godfather Part 2. They go hand in hand, but Godfather 1, I think both are perfect movies. Perfect movies, no questions asked. I think they're amazing.
And yeah, Barr, you had to say your number 5, I believe.
My number 5. This Cody's right. This movie is damn perfect. And he's right. The scene where he snaps, amazing. That restaurant scene alone, where he goes to the bathroom and he gets the gun and where it's taped. amazing, brilliant. The cinematography, the music, the acting, the writing, the direction, all of this is just amazing. There's no way that you could ever make this movie again because it is way too perfect. And I just happen to have 4 movies that I think are better.
Yeah. Well,
He's a baby driver, you piece of shit. I'm just gonna say that. Oh my gosh, it hasn't been brought up yet.
No, it hasn't.
Oh my god.
I know, right? But yeah, this movie, I'll just tell you guys, this was the right answer. We've gone through all this rigmarole. This is the right answer. This movie is perfect. It is long, but every second is earned and deserved. That wedding scene sets up so much stuff, and everything about this is so great. It's such a deep, meaty movie. Every time I watch it, I find something new to look at and something to think about and something to enjoy in it. It is just, I mean, what can you say that hasn't been said about The Godfather? This is my favorite movie, and it's deservedly has the reputation it has. It's fantastic in every possible way, every performance, everything. Yeah, so I'll let you guys go. Koho, you didn't have this on your list.
No, I did not.
Tell us why you suck at movies.
So I've seen this movie once, and I liked it. I agree with everything about why it is. Everyone loves it. I see why. My favorite line is "Leave the gun, take the cannoli." I love that line. I mean, Brando's great. I don't know. I've never gone back to rewatch it. I haven't given it that second watch yet. I haven't seen the other 2 Godfathers either. I stopped at 1.
I own them. You have my voodoo. What
I know it's a blind spot that I need to utilize your voodoo to watch them with. But I've seen the first one and I like it. It's a great movie. It's just I haven't rewatched it and I haven't seen if it holds up on a rewatch. And it probably does, but
all right, Jeff, we'll go to you, and why don't you start by telling us why Godfather 1 isn't on your list?
Well, I wanted to give myself a little bit of a challenge. If you guys were paying attention earlier to this stream, I mentioned there was a yikes with one of these other films, but The Godfather, because I wanted to give myself a little bit of a challenge and kind of make it a little bit fair. But The Godfather is amazing. I do love this movie a lot. I mean, I can't say much more about it than everybody else has said. I still think one of the most amazing deliveries of a line was Brando going, "Look like the my boy," that scene. My boy. Yes, that hits you. That just really hits you. But I love this movie. But I will talk a little bit about something else.
Well, we're coming to you now. So, wait, are we? That was number.
Yeah, is 2.
Yes,
we're on 2.
Yeah,
we're on just yeah.
Yeah, so it's my 2. Yeah. So yeah, basically kind of going off of that. I wanted to give myself a little bit of a challenge, and not have multiple from one director or one trilogy or franchise or whatever. And looking at The Godfather, I still think that Godfather Part 2 is the better of the Godfather trilogy. I loved the fact that it went deeper into the story and the progression of Al Pacino and his rise there, and also getting the background of Marlon Brando's character and seeing how he got to be you essentially got 2 movies into one, and it meshed so well, and that's what I think works amazing for this movie. The performances again are amazing. Pacino spot on here. The whole stuff going with Fredo, that just you feel him through a lot of stuff. He doesn't want to do it, but man, it's you feel him in that. De Niro is the best he's ever been in this. When you look at his filmography, this is pinnacle of what he's capable of doing. But I think in terms of the Godfather trilogy, I think 2 is just a little bit better than 1. And I wanted to kind of make this fair to myself and just the list overall. So Godfather Part 2, I think, is the better one.
All right. And Andrew, you had this at number 8.
Number 8, yes. I disagree in the fact that I think that Godfather Part 1 is better. However, when I watched this movie again recently, and when I was watching it, I was thinking to myself, okay, it's a good movie, yeah, but I don't really get all the hype around it, calling it one of the greatest movies of all time. And then the last 20 minutes happen, and it literally ties every little thing that I was having a problem with together in a nice bow at the end. And maybe more of a garrote than a bow. But Yeah, no. That last 20 minutes really solidified its place on my list because as I said, it ties everything together and it really brings the danger of Michael Corleone into zeroed focus, like zeroed. And yeah, no, it's amazing, and especially the last scene where you just see the collapse of an entire family patriarchy.
Yeah, this is another great movie, another great pick. Deserves to be up here at the top of the list. The rest of you guys should have had it or had it higher. I do like Godfather 1 better. I think Cody hit the nail on the head. I like the seeing the transformation, that slower burn of Michael Corleone through the first movie than I do see him in full villain mode in the second part. I enjoy the flashback scenes a lot more, that part of the movie, a lot more than I do the Pacino stuff. But again, I mean, we're talking, 10s versus 9.9s here. It's all fantastic. It's all great. But Koho, you already said you haven't seen it. Cody, you kind of touch on a little bit, but why didn't 2 make your list?
I'll make it quick. First time being on the list, I wasn't going to just put double on movies. I figure it would just be a repetitive conversation to have. I love both of them. I honestly consider them one full giant. When I watch them, I don't watch one and then the other. I watch them both. So technically, I consider them one giant film in my eyes. And I know that's not the right way to look at it. But so when I put The Godfather 2 is right step with it.
I got you. That's fair. Okay, and Andrew, what is your number 2?
Hey, I can see you snickering, Jeff. I can see you snickering. Don't laugh! This ain't reality TV. It's The Departed.
Yikes!
I figured.
You will not steal my thunder of my votes.
Here we go.
Need a minute.
I'm ready for a trial.
I'm actually going to leave. I'm going to actually leave.
Let's go to war, Kirk Kowalkowski. Number 1, Baby Driver, baby. Baby Driver's in my top 10 favorite movies of all time. I love this movie.
Because you've seen 11 films.
I will throw this on whenever I want. It is a fun ride. I feel the emotions of every character. I love every storyline that they do. Buddy, John Hamm, I think is his best performance in film, maybe. I think Jamie Foxx is great as Bats. Ansel Elgort he's good. I think Lily James is phenomenal. I think I'm gonna get us demonetized again. I think it's just a great Kevin Spacey performance. I think the whole film, on the whole, is maybe the best choreographed movie of all time. It's the best edited movie of all time. It has one of the best soundtracks of all time. Baby Driver is excellent. I love this fucking movie, and I'm ready to go to war.
So it's my number 4. Let me talk first.
I have it at 10.
Of course, Holtzman's 12 years old, and Edgar Wright is the only director he knows exists. He's seen 5 movies. This is the only crime movie Holtzman's seen.
He doesn't show up the entire call.
He was
waiting in the wings, just waiting for his moment.
You say Baby Driver 3 times, and Cameron just appears. This is my.
I've lost control of the Multiplex Entertainment account, by the way. Brian took over.
We have assumed control.
He found the back door. Brian, you're unblocked, by the way. The 5 minutes ran out on your timeout.
That was brilliant, Michael.
This is Brian's crime movie.
Yeah. So, I had Baby Driver at my number 4.
Still too high.
This is a wild ride of a movie. I went to see this movie in theaters 4 times. It is the most times I've ever gone to a theater to see a movie. Edgar Wright's direction in this is a fantastic. As you said, the choreography, that opening scene alone to John Spencer Blues Explosion's Bell Bottoms, that entire scene is amazing. It's one of the best openings ever. All of the performances in here are great, especially John Hamm, who I think gives the best performance in this movie. He is absolutely terrifying. I love the editing in this movie, the sound mixing and sound editing. It's the first time I ever watched a movie and noticed it. I was like, "Ooh, this is perfectly layered." It is. I think it's a directorial feat. And it's a masterclass of a movie.
Okay, so I had this at 10. Yeah. This is a fun movie. This is a fun heist film. This shows you can have fun. But man, Koho, number one, I'm gonna rescind my time right now for Kirk to rip your ass apart right now. So, just sit and just nod your head and say yes, sir, a lot, and it'll hopefully get quicker.
Here's the thing. Nothing you guys really, you didn't say too much that was wrong. Like it's a good movie, and I'm gonna have to. Yes, you are on trial. Thank you for putting yourself on trial. I mean, I don't hate this movie, and you guys are gonna make me sound like I hate this movie. It's okay. I don't even think this is Edgar Wright's best crime movie. This is you're talking about this. You guys, you talk about how stylized is. Yeah, it's like a long music video. The whole thing is like that scene where he's walking to get the coffee looks like a Bugle Boy jeans commercial from the 90s. I mean, it is so overly done. And just like the beats where like the gun, like at the end where the gunshots and the car noises are going along with the music, it's like a music video. It was like, I'm just like, oh my God, I'm watching a cartoon here. It just so overdone. Like Andrew, you're like, yeah, I noticed sound mixing and sound editing because that's all this movie is. It's just sound and music and ba 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 ba, and it's just so overdone. Again, this is not a bad movie because we are talking top 10 crime movies of all time. And I don't know what's more offensive. Koho had it at number 1, and Godfather wasn't on his list at all. But Barr, you bastard. Number 4, and then Godfather right behind it. That is not okay. I don't know which makes me more angry and which one of you I hate more because of it. That is.
I put it at 10 in all respect.
I know, yeah, Jeff, you're fine. 10, you want to throw this movie a bone. I'm not going to give you a hard time. If you guys would all have this at 10, fine. This is a 10 movie. I mean, you have Koho had his friggin' Don Knotts Haunted House movie at number 10. So you can put Baby Driver at number 10. That's okay. But holy man alive, guys, have you seen more than 10 crime movies where you're going to put this at number 1? Don't quit nodding your head. Oh, you've seen like 6 movies in your whole dumb life. Holy crap.
And all of them are better than The Godfather.
Oh my God.
Sir.
Number okay, I'm done with this. Cody, you're the only one that makes sense on this. Go ahead and tell me why it's not on your list.
You guys are delusional. I won't go into depth, but you guys are delusional how this even ranks as like when I pop in a crime movie. No, like, hey, did you know that they made the sound for this movie before they made the movie? And they put it on top of it? They blocked it out accordingly? Isn't that cool? Don't care. I think it's fine. I think the movie, after you know what happens, it's kind of... Some crime movies don't have that lasting effect that once you know what happens, I don't want to go back and watch it. But Cameron Holtzman put it as his favorite movie of all time, so Koho has to put it at number 1. That sounds
good. It is number 2. It's my number 6. So.
Okay. What's his number 1?
Something from Baby Driver, Cam. No,
I'm sure you will. Cameron will have a team somewhere that has a name from Baby Driver. Don't worry, it's going to happen. Okay, hits keep on coming. Cody, what's your number 1?
Let me ask you. Do you know what we do? Let's pretend you have no fucking idea what we do. Because if you knew what we do, we would be... Can't say it. I'm telling you right now, The Departed is the best cat and mouse, back and forth, most rewatchable movie of probably all time. This movie, Jack Nicholson, Matt Damon, and Leonardo DiCaprio are 3 titans in this movie, back and forth. You can say Scorsese won it because he's never won it before. This movie is Scorsese's best film. I will stand on the hill and fight it tooth and nail. Listen, Kirk, tonight you can be the host of Your List Sucks, but next time maybe you can be a fucking astronaut or something because you will never take over the show again if you talk shit on this movie. This movie is perfection. This movie is beautiful. This movie is shot. It's so back and forth. You can say what you want. 3 people had it, and it's still amazing. So, The Departed is my second favorite movie of all time. Let's go.
Who has somebody else had it?
I don't know. Number 2. Kirk, do you want to know if I like this movie? Maybe. Maybe not. maybe go fuck yourself.
Hey guys, you're quoting the movie. Your accents aren't awful enough, so you're doing it wrong. Continue.
We're the guy that does our job. You must be
the other guy.
Kirk looks like he's about to say, "Why don't you hand me a glass of scotch and a handgun so I can pull my fucking brain out?" Cody's right. Is
that true? Oh, for God's sake!
Exposed.
For those of you listening to this,
Shock and awe on tonight's Geraldo.
for those of you listening, his wife just posted that his dad watched The Departed today and loved it.
Let's be real.
Yeah, so Cody said it. It's the best back and forth cat and mouse movie ever made. You see the dichotomy between what's happening on both sides because there's a rat on both sides who's trying to find out who the rat is. It's a layered script with amazing performances. Matt Damon's best performance, in my opinion. And it's one of the most quotable movies of all time. Yeah, this movie's amazing. And it's Scorsese's best, in my opinion.
I gotta take back something I said 1-2 spots ago when I said that No Country for Old Men's the best cat and mouse. The Departed is the best cat and mouse. The Departed is Scorsese's best movie. How many have I seen? 6. Still number 1. I'm still smart enough to know that this is number 1. Fucking DiCaprio, maybe his best performance. Everyone in it is incredible, firing on all cylinders. It's the shortest 2.5-hour movie I've ever seen. It flies by. It's super rewatchable. Wahlberg being the one that they nominated, I'm not even mad because Wahlberg is excellent. Everyone's excellent. And listen, we're all on our way out. Act accordingly.
Who let you people on here?
You did!
We're talking about best crime movies, and you guys are saying this is Scorsese's best is a crime. Just like everybody else, he sleep rocks for this movie. I think they just kind of like woke him up. I think he was on the set in his bathrobe. This is the most paint by numbers cop crime procedural movie ever. The dichotomy,
Goodfellas, guys.
That dichotomy is so surfacey and paint by numbers. This feels like a script that was written by like a freshman film student who read the first chapter of his book and was really excited and had a lot of ideas. It's so obviously a remake. Like there's no the movie lacks any kind of real heart and soul. And like I said, that back and forth, like, ooh, he has this going on and he has this going on. Look at that, guys. Look at that dichotomy. It's so obvious. There's no subtlety in this movie. And let's talk about the performances, the accents. Okay, Cody, I had to wade through a lot of bad Boston accents for your movies. This movie is absolutely the worst. I have never seen an entire cast of otherwise very talented actors completely half-ass their way through the requisite accent. It is so bad. I mean, they go from full force, full speed ahead, leading that accent to completely forgetting it over the course of a sentence. I've never seen it. Everybody does it. Nicholson does it. Everybody does it. Do you want to be a culp? Or do you just want to appear to be a culp? And it's so bad. It makes it so hard to watch.
Not a quap.
And the worst
had to tone it down.
Wahlberg, though the native Boston guy, had it worse because he was so over the top with it. It made it so hard to watch. Guys, this movie. Hey, Cody, remember when we did top 10 most overrated of the 2000s? I had this at 10. I rewatched it because you all had this on this list. I want to move that down to like 4 or 5.
You're a heartless person.
Because I have accurate opinions on movies, Andrew. I watch movies and I understand what I'm seeing. You guys try telling me this is better than The Godfather, better than Taxi Driver, better than King of Comedy. Better than Taxi Driver. You guys are better than Raging Bull. You guys are out of your mind.
Goodfellas.
Oh
We're
my
just
God, no!
We're just not 75
No.
years old.
It's one. Those are two of the Scorseses I've seen. I put Departed over Goodfellas 10 days out of 10.
Insane. That's nonsense. That's nonsense you're speaking. Let's move on to.
Well, let Jeff speak about it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Jeff. I'm sorry. Yeah,
I didn't put this on my list.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Jeff. I gotta. Oh yeah, good.
It's okay. I look at this as like, one movie per director, but even looking at The Departed, this isn't his best crime film. No, but I'll say we're gonna talk about it in a minute, but I would even put Wolf of Wall Street better crime movie than this in a way. But I mean, The Departed is good, but man, yeah, I agree. This is a movie. When I saw it initially, it was great, but overrated. Definitely overrated.
Absolutely. All right,
Jeff's never welcome back. So
with that said, Jeff, the ship is sinking. Please bail us out a little bit here. Do the right thing. Go ahead. So it was already mentioned before. Yes, Scorsese. Looking at this list, we could have had like half his list be just him, and that could easily take. That wasn't fair in my eyes. But looking at what's left of this, it was already brought up earlier. The number one best crime film. The fact that that everybody's laughing right now. Is this funny to you? Is this funny? Do I look like a clown to you? Am I funny to you? It's fucking Goodfellas, guys. Come on. Goodfellas, as the young kids say, this movie, it slaps. That's what the kids say, right? Please tell me I'm not showing my age. But man, everybody in this movie is so good. I mean, Pesci, De Niro, and Liotta have some of the best on-screen chemistry that is just so good. It makes the entire movie just flow through, and you just see the evolution of just this entire organization constantly, from prison to the streets. It's just so good. How the hell is this not number one for people? I thought I would have at least 2-3 other people getting this as well. Jesus Christ, people. If we had a better panel, you would have. Yeah, this is absolutely Scorsese's best movie. Everything he did up to this movie was building to this movie. Everything he did after is kind of, I mean, it's not bad, but it's made by, you could tell everything he did after this is made by a filmmaker who has nothing left to prove, because he made his magnum opus in Goodfellas, and then he has the right to sleepwalk through movies like The Departed because he made a masterpiece like the Goodfellas. Goodfellas is fantastic. Everybody is great in this.
This is my two.
Actors.
I'm not yelling at you, Cody. I'm not yelling at you. But these other three.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You had this. I ignored that because you had Departed. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Cody. I apologize. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. I know. I love Goodfellas. I think Goodfellas is his second best crime movie, over The Departed. And I understand maybe you don't like The Departed for various reasons. I think Ray Liotta is really rough in this movie at times. He overacts to the highest level possible, and I get it. I mean, if I was growing up and not as a child in the 90s, Goodfellas would be my Departed. I get that. But Goodfellas is still 3. It's still one of my favorites. But Ray Liotta, and you feel the wait time a little bit in this movie near that middle point. It gets a little rough. And Liotta gets way too much screen time. Way too much screen time in this movie.
His story.
I know, and they should have cast somebody else. I will stand by that. They should have cast somebody else, because I think you could cast any neurotic, wildly zany guy at that point and done better job. So he was probably cheap, so that's why Scorsese used him, because they had paid De Niro and Pesci. So yeah, it's fair. I love this movie. I think it's great. It deserves to be on this list, but a lot of people are saying it's man now, so it kind of makes me sad.
Yeah, because that's the hot take. Because that's. Oh, I'm cool. I like Departed better than Goodfellas because it's.
Let these chumps talk.
Let's see what you guys say. I'll go ahead and say that Goodfellas is my third favorite Scorsese. I like The Irishman more. If I'm being totally honest, I think The Irishman does everything you say Goodfellas does, but better. I think that's the better culmination of what the Scorsese could do at his best when he puts every skill that he has in his toolbox to use. Robert De Niro is a better version of the Ray Liotta character in Goodfellas than The Irishman. Joe Pesci is doing something totally different in that. But when it comes to Goodfellas, Joe Pesci's the only part that I like. De Niro's good. But I think Goodfellas is very clearly written by Scorsese, and Scorsese's a bad writer. I'm just gonna say it. I think Scorsese's a bad writer. I think he needs to write with someone in order for a movie to be good.
Okay,
my
calm
God.
down, Koho.
Look at the movies that are his best. He hasn't written most of the ones that you call his best. He didn't write The Departed.
If you say Shutter Island is great, come on.
Because Departed was obviously a remake. That's why, because it was very.
And Departed is better than Goodfellas. Just saying.
No.
So
Baby Driver.
Yeah.
I like Goodfellas. It might even be great, but Cody's right. Ray Liotta in this movie, like when he's laughing, it is the most over the top. Like look how funny this guy is. Like that's how.
All right, calm down.
That was Ray Liotta was here, guys.
Barr, eat a Snickers.
Had to do.
Koho.
That's what Ray Liotta had to do, is calm down. And that third act really just takes it in a direction that really took me off, because it became a cartoon in that third act. I'm sorry, it did, and it just took me out of the movie.
All right, Koho, I guess you guys talked. Never
Barr's
mind.
last one, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Barr. I guess.
I'm closing the night out. So Koho brought up a movie that he says the Coen Brothers' best movie, which is Balderdash, because the best Coen Brothers movie is Fargo. Fargo, I think, is a perfect movie. I think this movie is perfect. From the script, to the acting, to the directing, to the cinematography, to that score, which is absolutely amazing. Frances McDormand gives the best performance I've ever seen in a movie. And her detective work in this movie is really well told. She talks to William H. Macy's character. Besides, I don't know if he did it. Something happens to her, makes her rethink it, goes to visit him, and he runs. This movie is so good. Everyone in this movie is fantastic, and it's the Coen Brothers' best movie. And it's a perfect movie. It's a perfect movie. I can't. There was no other place for it but number one.
Okay. Yeah. In retrospect, I probably should have had you go last, or should have had you go first, Barr, because I kind of blew my load with those last two movies. To be honest with you, I don't have a lot of horrible things to say about Fargo. Fargo is a good movie. It's a fun movie. It may be the Coen Brothers' best. I don't know.
That's what made me laugh. I saw it. I started crying. I had to bite my tongue.
Is it number one? Is there other place you could have this on your
No.
list besides number one? Yes.
No.
You could have it through 2 through 10, or you cannot have it on the top 10 at all, and I'd be okay with
that. Not an option.
Yeah, Fargo is a good. It's a fun crime movie. I think tonally it's a little too. It can't really focus on anything, but it's another one where the accents kind of get to me. But again, I'm not going to get at number one. It's too high, but I'm okay with it on your list. Nobody else had it, so give me what you got.
I'll go fast. It was on my list, but I took it off. I enjoy it. It's just I literally spend 4 hours to 6 hours on a call with somebody from close to Minnesota, from Fargo. You betcha.
For sure.
So it drives me nuts. So thinking of this movie makes my skin crawl. So yeah, I had to take it off.
Jeff, go.
This was it's fine. You know, I'd put this in like a 25 list. You know, not a 10 list. Not even a number one. I think that's like kind of like a calm down there, Barr. You know, what I mean, but
it's the best movie ever made.
Whoa.
Is it actually your number one movie?
Well,
Respect.
That's I don't know about respect.
I give him respect.
That's definitely an interesting.
Okay,
but yeah, this is okay.
Okay, so I live here. I don't have to watch this movie to experience this. I have to look outside.
So people put people into wood chippers every day. This is an everyday occurrence.
You betcha. Boy, you betcha for sure. But literally, my town appears in this movie. Like, it's not mentioned by name, but they shot a lot of the scenes outside my town. So like if I want to watch Fargo, I really only have to look outside. That's why it's my third favorite Coen. That doesn't just take away from the fact that it is excellent. I think my top 3 Coen brother movies are all fantastic, near perfect movies, if not perfect. And this is in my top 3. So I give you a lot of applause and props. I didn't put her on because I don't go back to Fargo often because I live an hour north of it. So
that's understandable.
That's it.
I know March Gunderson personally.
Okay, so that's your top 10 list, guys, and I know we're pressed for time, Cody. I was actually going to make a list of all the movies you guys skipped because there's a lot of movies you guys disrespected. For example, Jeff had Nightcrawler on his list. Nobody talked about Taxi Driver. Andrew
thought about it.
Andrew had Roger Rabbit on his list. Nobody talked about Chinatown.
I do like that movie a lot, though.
Between the 4 of you, we had one Tarantino movie, Reservoir Dogs. So no Jackie Brown, no Kill Bill, no Pulp Fiction.
Nope.
One Tarantino. You know who had fewer movies on the crime list than Tarantino? One Alfred Hitchcock. Top 10. You guys had 40 chances. Top 10 crime movies all time. No Hitchcock. Hitchcock gets no representation. Don Knotts does. So live with that, guys. Sleep well at night. God be with you. So we're going to go over the top 10 overall. Again, this does not represent me or anybody who has decent taste in movies. But number 10, Training Day. Number 9, The Third Man.
Yeah.
Number 8, No Country for Old Men. Number 7, Fargo.
Oh, too low.
Number 6, The Godfather Part 2.
Ooh.
Number 5, Hell or High Water. Number 4, The Godfather. Number 3, Goodfellas. Good night, everybody. See you next week.
Number 2.
We did it.
And that and that. So, I apologize. We should have done better.
Wow.
You guys better. Giving you guys grades. Jeff, you're the only one who understood the assignment. You're the only one who didn't make my head explode at least once when you sent me your list. Your top 3 or your top 2 were perfect. You're the only one who had Dog Day. And you had Baby Driver, but number 10, which is forgivable. So I give you a B-. Okay. Cody, believe it or not, we're grading on a curve here, buddy. You almost got there. Your 3 and 2 were great. And you just totally completely bottomed out and departed. You had some off-the-wall picks. You had Hell or High Water was good. I liked Arsenic Gold Lace. So your list wasn't terrible. You get a C+.
Which one of us do you think got that last spot?
Yes, on the first show. I'll take it.
The next list, again, this one didn't piss me off as bad as I thought it would. It did, but not as bad as I thought it would. Had some really solid out of the box picks on it, but again, my next one is going to be Andrew.
Yeah,
Andrew, it saved you. You're the only one who had both Godfathers, so you get a C-.
All right, I'll take it.
And Koho, you had Private Eyes 10, and you never really recovered from there. You did okay. What saved you from a failing grade is you did have the one Tarantino movie. You had Reservoir Dogs. But Baby Driver at number 1 is a joke. So I'm giving you a D, sir, and your list sucks.
I'll hop over real quick just to take over for my future episodes. Star Wars extended universe that needs to be added, blah, blah, blah. It's a bunch of bullshit. I don't really know. I'm not going to be on it. It's Jay Burns. Send your list to him. I have nothing to do with that episode or Koho.
We have 3 people filled for that. We need 1 more spot. If you want to be on Star Wars expanded universe characters who should be added to the canon, that's the list. Case, Doman, and Kevin Posh, you're on.
Next after that, it will drop on Christmas Day. It's going to be Christmas movies. That panel is full, so there's no more spots. Tune to the page next week or tomorrow, not tomorrow. We will drop January's list. January is going to be the most highly probably requested to be on. We will do our best to get some people that we haven't had, but whoever sends me the list and actually has an interesting topic, then you'll be on it. But it has to do with a lot of the previous decade, and a lot to do with what 2019 offered. So be on the lookout for the Multiplex page. again, send me your list. After that list goes live, and we'll consider you for the show. Kirk, thank you so much for being a part of the show.
Thanks for having me.
I will definitely bring you back. We will discuss another topic for you to host, because I think you are, of the three, Nazario, Caleb, and you, I would actually put you in the number one spot. I think you did a fantastic job. So well done. All right. So everybody, good night.
Good night.
Your list sucks.